Hey, Kymone Freeman, how you been? How's your quarantine been?
Hey man, I'm enjoying the revolution. How you doing?
Yo, same. So you are a poet. You're the founder of We Act Radio, award-winning playwright, feature film director, founding board member of Words, Beats, and Life, co-founder of Bum Rush the Boards, the largest youth chess tournament in Washington, D.C. My first question is, do you just walk around founding things all day?
I need to find some money. That's what I need to find. But I'm the co-founder of We Act Radio. You're making it sound like I already found some money. But yeah, I'm co-founder of We Act Radio, and more people need to collaborate. You know, more people need to collaborate, and I think that one of the things that I have done over the course of my career is undertake projects that force me to work with a large number of people. My first endeavor was a festival. We call it the Black Love Festival. It's a community awareness event disguised as a festival. Music, poetry, information. Obviously, had to work with a large number of people there. From that built relationships, and it was like kind of like a reconnaissance mission where I found out where resources were, where allies were, where the cracks in the systems were. You know, what you can get away with, because I'm dealing with the city, I'm dealing with the police, I'm dealing, so I got into these rooms, and it was an education. And now one of the things I try to convey to younger people as much as possible is that the system is not as infallible as you think it is. The system is not as efficient as you think it is. Beyond the criminal injustice system, they got that down to an efficiency. But in terms of every other aspect of the government, we should not be fearful to challenge it, because it needs to be changed. And I know where the cracks are, and we need to explore them. And I think that is becoming more abundantly clear. I spent the summer in Nairobi, and when I came back, I had complete confidence in my voice and what I had to say and what I was writing, because oftentimes the system would tell you that you are insignificant and there's nothing you can do, and we should utterly reject that. That is one of the tenements of white supremacy, is thinking that their ice is colder, their thing is better. That's the mainstream. Like we got to sanitize the language. We need to stop calling them the mainstream. Stop calling them the lamestream or whatever you want to call them, but they ain't the mainstream. Most people I know, when I get in their car, they're not listening to the commercial radio. Most people, that's not what the vast majority of people I know is checking for. And the vast majority of people I know are not listening to Washington Post to formulate their opinion. So things are going to change, but no one's going to tell you that they have changed. We have to sense that. It's like a fight in the ring. You have to sense when your opponent has already tired. And the system is in the ring with Ali, and they was Big George Foreman and had everybody scared, and they've been beating our ass for a long time, but they're getting tired. We got to dig deep and find some resolve left, some resiliency, and we can overcome this brutal beast that's been terrorizing the planet for far too long.
Yeah, I've been talking to people along the same lines about the what I'm calling the death rattle of white supremacy. You're seeing this big reaction and this big wave of it, and this like almost like popularization of it, but it's because of that fact that like it's getting tired. The system is getting tired. They're getting beat out here and there. Like when I meet superheroes, I like to know the origin story. You know what I'm saying?
Always a story.
So from there, how does We Act Radio start? How do you start a whole media outlet conglomerate? How does this happen?
Yeah, this big beautiful empire, right? Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, our property is bought and paid for. The land is sitting on is bought and paid for. We have a performance venue outside that holds hundreds of people, and we took all this, and we in like one of the we like in the poorest section of Washington D.C., but it's the section that's now for gentrification. So we got in right in time for us to be like what. So it's an institution, and this is our 10 years here. But how did it start? I want people to understand that you don't everything is not linear. You know, I never had a plan to create a festival. I never had a plan to become an artist or a poet or a filmmaker. What I had was the undying dedication to follow my instinct and do something that challenges the mountain of bullshit that we have been fed. Like I got tired of screaming at the TV.
The masked up live stream here is a community health live stream. So where do you see community health and art and media intersecting?
Well, health is wealth, first of all. So health was a part and parcel of everything I did. The festival that I alluded to was the largest annual AIDS mobilization in Washington, D.C. for 6 years. We tested more people for AIDS than any other calendar day than the Department of Health, okay? And that because we had all these mobile units out there, and D.C. at the time had 12 times the national AIDS infection rate. And it was a reason for that because, you know, Congress runs D.C. D.C. is not a state yet. And so Congress decides what happens in D.C. So there's no, when we have our license plates that say taxation, our representation is real. And so we was denied for 10 years to have a needle exchange program. And that was despite the fact that it had been proven that dirty needles was the cause of 30% of all new AIDS infection cases. And so that means for over 10 years, 30% of all new AIDS cases was attributed to the fact that we didn't have self-determination. So that's 300% higher than everybody else just because of that. And so that negatively affected our health. And then going into our platform here where We Act Radio, you know, we're here for Medicare for all, healthcare for all. Because how can you sit here and push a vaccine when say we want to get this vaccine to everybody, as we like to say in DC, everybody. We want to get the vaccine to everybody because we're concerned about everybody's health, but we're not concerned about everybody's well-being other than this vaccine. You know what I'm saying? So if you got a pre-existing condition, you got some, you know, you on your own. Good luck with that. You know, so that's where we are right now. The system is about to implode because everything that we've been taught has now been obliterated in terms of inevitability. You know, everything that was politically impossible is now politically inevitable. Health is our wealth, and it has to be made a priority. It's the only country that does not provide health care to all its citizens, and that has to change. There's no rationale. Even in a pandemic, they still trying to hold on to it. But it's falling apart. Things fall apart. And I think that Martin Luther King said it best. Out of all the injustices, injustice in healthcare is the most inhumane.
So, you know, everything that you do is kind of grounded in liberation work. What roles do art and media play in liberation work?
I think art is the fuel. I think art is what gets us going. You know, there's a song that you can turn on that's going to get you out your seat. There's a painting that you can see that make you stop. There is some sculpture, some phrase of words put together that will make you think. Art is that. Art is we're the gatekeepers of truth. You know, and that's Paul Robeson right there, one of my great heroes. But the media, I think the media is the platform. The media is the bullhorn. So I give you a bullhorn, you are now media because you're now broadcasting. Anything that amplifies what you're saying is media. Your phone, record it, play it, that's media. You know, I can sit here and whisper to somebody's ear and they whisper to 10 other people's ear, that's media. Now, I'm not gonna be responsible for what message comes out the last person's mouth. Right. That's how things get misconstrued because that's not my voice. You went through several different levels of interpretation, but that's still media. That's more like Fox media, but you know, it's still media. But we need to understand that. And it ain't over. It ain't over. And I think that this pandemic is making us have a renewed sense of what's important. And I think we're feeling that health is important, art is important. Because you miss dancing, don't you? You miss going out, don't you? You mad that you didn't go to all those current concerts? You said it. You miss,
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So I think art is the energy, and media is the platform.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we're on the verge of another renaissance artistically. Like if you look at what happens after pandemics historically, the arts pick up. So I do feel, and you can feel the energy kind of coming from everywhere, whether it's the young poets, whether it's, I'm hearing rappers that are making far more, like rappers that used to make club joints, making some real conscious, real like spiritual music now. And you're starting to see, some folks actually find a way into that more mainstream. Toby's out here, man. Toby's out here making records right now. So what do you, from your perspective, what are the biggest threats to the health of the Black community? And have they changed with this new administration, or is it more of the same?
The biggest threat to the health of the Black community has been consistent for 500 years, and that threat is white supremacy. That is the biggest threat to the health of the Black community, and it's the biggest threat to the safety of this country, as you've seen in this desperation to maintain itself on the Capitol riots. And I want to say this: what do you call a failed coup? A rehearsal. So what you saw on January 6th is not the end, it's the beginning. So you're going to see more of that, but it's because white supremacy has been damaged. It's a wounded animal, and unfortunately, a wounded animal is far more dangerous than it normally is. But at the same time, it also signals it's on its way out.
This is the question that I ask everyone that comes on this show. I myself am an expert joy hunter. Where is your joy coming from currently?
Where is my joy? Wow. I guess I'm getting older, because if you had asked me that 20 years ago, I would have a completely different answer. My joy comes from watching my kid play. If he's happy, then I'm happy. I remember a few days ago, I was sitting here reading, and I looked up, and because it was kind of quiet, I was expecting like this, hear his computer on or something, and I go look, and I'm thinking he's gonna be sleeping. I was gonna turn the lights out. He's sitting there reading. I'm like, oh snap! I'm reading. He's reading. I felt warm and fuzzy, like I'm doing a good job as a father. Like, okay, all right. And I think that's what it is, because we breaking the chain, breaking the cycle, and I get joy from my work. I get joy when I see people get inspired by this work. I get joy when I see things changing. I get joy whenever I see random acts of kindness. Random acts of kindness. We should all practice that. I've seen more since this COVID, since the pandemic started. I've seen more.
Yo, thank you so much for taking the time with me today, and really just kind of gaming the listeners up on how white supremacy is a health crisis. That's something we really try and dig into on this show, and I think you really illuminated a lot of that for us. And thank you for all the work that you do. Thank you for all that you are, and we'll be following all the creation.
All right, and I just want to leave you with one jewel. This is from Martin Luther King. A lot of us are very familiar with Martin Luther King's last speech, but we may not be as familiar with his next to his last speech, which was delivered right here in Washington, D.C., March 31st, 1968, and it was called Remaining Awake During a Great Revolution. He went on to say, one of the great liabilities of life is that all too many people find themselves living amid a great period of social change, and yet they fail to develop the new attitudes and the new mental responses that the new situation demands. They end up sleeping through a revolution. Stay woke, y'all.
Salute.
Stay strong, stay